All right, I've just pulled it. Tell me when you're ready.
It's buffering the stream and about halfway there. And there we go. We're live on YouTube now.
There we go. Now we're live on there. All right. Off-Road Podcast, episode 262, Wonder Film. Tonight, Aaron gets blown up, Jeremy discovers a trail modification, and Ben looks weird on camera. Welcome to the Off-Road Podcast, a podcast about everything off-road. We cover the news, review products, and interview people in the off-road industry. I'm your host, Ben, and I'm here with my co-host, Jeremy. And tonight we are joined by Kristen and Joe. How is everyone doing?
Can't complain.
Good. Thanks for having us.
Wonderful.
So, Jeremy, what's new, man?
Well, I got a skid plate for my vapor canister, so it was the last thing that I needed to put a skid plate on there. I ended up going under and just crawling under a couple days ago just to kind of see what the install was going to take. And lo and behold, I had no vapor canister left. I pulled it off on some trail at some point and had no idea it came off. So, yep, good for that. Trail modifications, yay. I don't know why I need the skid plate now. The Jeep was running well and didn't even throw a code. So who knows?
Joys of a Hemi, right?
I have to assume it had something to do with the fact that it had a Hemi swap in it. So anyway, I got a new vapor canister coming because I've been having trouble with my tank overflowing when I'm filling up. It'll at the end of when the pump cycles off, it'll burp some gas out. So I'm hoping that will be fixed by the new vapor canister. I'm thinking that just the outlet has become plugged since the vapor canister went away and the exhaust melted a couple of the lines. So hopefully when I replace those, it'll fix it. Other than that, from my blown U-joint, I pulled the shaft on the passenger side and part of the inner axle seal came out with it. So that was fun. I sent a message to John Matthews because he's our resident, he's a off-road expert for sure. Being out there at Auburn off-road car repair.
Yep.
Did I say that one right?
You did.
So he was kind enough to give me his professional opinion. It was a seal he hadn't seen before. It's not the stock seal. It's an aftermarket seal. But I sent him some pictures and had a couple and talked to him about it for a little bit. And he said, yeah, you probably blew the seal. You might as well replace the seals. So now I have the other shaft pulled out. I'm just waiting for all the extra parts to come in before I crack the pumpkin, pull the carrier, and do the seals. So yay for more Jeep work, but oh well.
It's that Jeep life. Well, I would say what's up, Aaron, but he's entertaining some family and friends, and so he got blown up on the 4th of July, right? Is that what we're saying for now?
Sure, let's go with that.
And then
he's actually watching. He said he didn't get blown up.
Oh, well, it sucks for him. He got blown up. So Christian, what is new and exciting for you right now? Anything?
What's new and exciting? This ridiculous truck project that we took on is occupying all the synapses of both mine and Joe's brains. I'm more emotional about it. He's more cerebral about it.
What about you, Joe? What's new and exciting? Anything fun in the shop?
Oh, yes. So we actually just gave Christian back the truck last week. We went through a whole snafu with fuel pumps and fuel delivery and trying to make sure that it is ready to run biofuel reliably. We've been having pressure issues. For those of you who don't know, we're running a 606 diesel, which originally just came to the US in the E-Class. We swapped into a G-Wagon. And, in stock form, we only were able to produce like 160 horsepower, something kind of paltry. Anyway, right now we've detuned it. We're down to about 325, somewhere in that ballpark. But the big thing is we're gearing up to run straight bio through it. So the whole fuel system we've basically revamped with new injection pump, lift pump, heavy duty fast stuff that we can use spin-on filters with. It's field serviceable, full heating elements, basically just making it as robust as possible. So, when she's out bashing in the skid plates and whatnot, she's not gonna have to worry about anything like a vapor canister.
Nice. Well, I I'm buying some new front coilovers. I'm supposed to pick those up this weekend. Other than that, I got to go hang out with Jeremy. And then we did some recording. So hopefully there'll be some new YouTube videos here soon with me looking pretty awkward on camera.
Very awkward.
And Jeremy, do you have an announcement, or am I announcing it?
I don't care. I'm just trying to get it set up right now. But
All right. Well, I'll go ahead and announce it. So we are doing a giveaway. You might have heard on the CVT episode towards the end, Bobby announced that we are going to be giving away a UFO light. So we are launching that giveaway tonight. The link will be in the show notes. And it should be on our live chats once it's all finished and set up.
absolutely, and make sure you guys tune into the live episodes on YouTube. So if you can't watch live, don't worry, you can go back on YouTube and watch through the episode. If you just go ahead and switch over to listening that way, if you're already a listener, sometime during the episode we will drop a keyword, and we'll make it clear that that's the keyword that we're dropping. But you will not see it on either the on any of the audio only. You have to go to either the radio version or you have to go on YouTube to see it.
Yep, because I'm going to delete it in post-production. So listen live. Oh no.
Did you not go live?
I did not go. No, I'm live, but I forgot to hit the.
Oh, Ben.
Oh man.
Just jump into the radio and we'll say sorry about that.
Well, sorry about that, guys who are trying to listen on Overland radio. Somebody, I'm not sure who, forgot to hit the recording button, or not the recording button, the talk button. So if you're just joining us, we just did the intro to the show, and Jeremy and I talked about what we've been doing, and we introduced Christian and Joe, which is the mechanic and the driver for the Wonder Film project, as we're calling it for right now. So yeah, and we also just announced our contest for a UFO light. So be looking forward to the keyword for that tonight, and you have to listen live to get the keyword.
So what is the UFO light, Ben, for those who are just tuning in?
So the UFO light is a pole. My best description is a pole light that collapses down, and it has 4 lights that are also removable. It's USB chargeable, and it also has a Bluetooth speaker built into it.
And it has a solar panel on top.
And a solar panel. There we go. So all your camp light needs are taken care of. And music.
Or podcasts.
So it does not attract UFOs.
No, unfortunately, though it might.
You never know.
That's what we want.
We'll have to ask
Right.
Bobby. Maybe he can
I'm
throw
just
in a
thinking about
special
bugs.
feature.
All right. And
Hey guys, we're looking to reach more listeners. We're going to start reading Apple iTunes reviews on air. If you hear yours, send us a message with your address, and we'll send you an Off-Road Podcast sticker. You can find all of our social media by just searching our name. Now, go hit that subscribe button.
I want a sticker.
I can get you one. No
Oh
problem.
yeah, who don't?
Who doesn't like stickers, right? So also don't forget to check out patriotpatch.co. Check out their great selection of patches. I just got my Tree of Liberty patch for the month of July. Awesome patch. So yeah, don't forget to check those guys out. And where did our news go? There it is.
The news is brought to you by PowerTank, the ultimate mobile onboard air system for performance, versatility, and reliability. They are your source for all air-related accessories. Check them out at powertank.com.
And just when you think you're getting sick of us talking about Broncos, we've got another Broncos story. So the Autoblog posted that Bronco is getting a little Disney magic. So the new Bronco, they're getting ready to announce that, what is that, next week, July 13th? Is that next week?
That is next week, a week from today.
Oh, actually, yeah. So we'll probably be talking more Bronco next week. So
It actually releases at the end of the show, so 8 p.m. Oh, I'm sorry, Eastern time. So 2 hours before the show next week.
yeah, so that's pretty exciting. But right after that, they're going to be doing some live streaming, along with ABC, ESPN, and National Geographic, all owned by Disney, are going to air special films to showcasing different aspects of the Bronco shortly after it makes its debut. So that's pretty awesome. I wonder how much they paid Disney for that action.
I think just Disney owns everything now.
Wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, and supposedly they're going to upload all 3 films to Hulu on the 14th. So
I told you they own everything.
everything.
Are they animated?
Are there princesses? Asking for
No,
my
really. Is there a soundtrack?
Oh, the next new hit track, Bronco. Bronco, a Disney story.
I'll get back to you with the new theme song tomorrow. Oh, I'm
Please
excited
do.
about this.
Actually, there was a point in time where I was working on a remixed version of Let It Snow.
Let it go.
I'm ready. Go.
No, do you want to build a snowman?
Yeah. Oh, was it? Oh, yeah. Do you want to build a snowman?
With the Bronco.
It was. Do you
With
want
the
to build a
Bronco.
wheeler? We can have lots of fun. We can go anywhere, and something else.
Unless it's Ben's.
So yeah. Look forward to that. I'm sure we'll be spending lots of time talking about that next week because we're joined by Coy. So I'm sure we'll jump into some Bronco talk.
Oh, yeah.
Go prepared with Warren Industries. They produced the first recreational winch in 1959 and lead the industry with their dedication to quality and reliability. When you dig yourself in deep, make sure you have the right tools to get yourself out. Get Warren equipped and go where others can't. Now, let's get ready for adventure and head into our main topic.
Well, tonight we are joined by Christian and Joe from Wonder Film, who recently rebuilt a 1992 G-Wagon with some very interesting modifications, and Christian's planning on running it in the Rebel Rally this year. I'm very excited. How's it going?
Everything that could go wrong is going wrong or has gone wrong.
So it's like a SEMA project.
He's killing it.
No, it's not going to be held together by zip ties.
That's right. There is no chewing gum. We removed all that. We've replaced it with industrial strength hot glue.
Ooh,
There you go.
not hot glue. Okay, not even
Yeah.
JB Weld.
Leveling up. Yeah, it was supposed to go to competition last year, and it failed at the starting line. So then I found Joe, and Joe made all my dreams come true.
Nice.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
Right?
So when we like to get to know everybody, we like to get to know everybody before we get into the main topic. So we're going to start with the fast 5 facts. So just we'll start with Christian and just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. So are you ready?
Go.
All right. New or old vehicle?
Old.
Summer or winter camping?
Summer, less to pack.
Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
I'm in Colorado. I have to go with snow.
Favorite vehicle brand?
Mercedes Benz.
And favorite tire?
Oh, I'm pretty keen on my BFG KM3s right now.
Ooh, we get that answer a lot.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I'll go with the KO2. If I really like sand, they work as pretty nice sleds, a little bit tighter tread.
All right, let's jump over to Joe. So Joe, new or old vehicle?
Cold all the way.
Summer or winter camping?
Winter
Rock, sand, snow, or mud?
rocks.
Favorite vehicle brand?
Boy, Mercedes.
And favorite tire?
Got to be the KM3s.
Nice. So our missing co-host Aaron, he runs the KM3s, and he absolutely loves those tires. So definitely a good choice. I've seen them in action, and they do real well everywhere. So now we get to talk about you guys. So we'll start off with Christian. How did you get started in off-roading?
I was in college in a literature class, first day of school, and this rad woman walks through the door. She's got on this long blue skirt and a pressed white Oxford, like total prep. Collar is popped, but she had a longboard under her arm. And I was like, I think we need to be friends. And apparently she thought the same thing. And we hit it off. We are still best friends today. And she was not just a longboarder, but an off-roader. She had an old Jeep Cherokee. And we'd hit Moab probably twice a month for the next 4 years. I was her scout and navigator, stock little Cherokee, and we learned a ton. And we had so much fun just playing in the dirt and figuring it out.
So what year Cherokee was this? Was this like the full size?
Probably in 92. And his
Okay.
name was Clifford.
His name was Clifford. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And Joe, what about you?
Man, I got started in off-road by default. I'm just a poor boy from Kentucky. I used to ditch class in high school to go wheeling. Started with an old Dodge. I think we rolled it at least 4 times here in Colorado and just never stopped. So just more from there, different vehicles, different challenges. Did some stuff in California for a little while, did some sand stuff, really dug that. Wintertime is so much fun. You can just rock and roll with it. And just finding like-minded people that want to go out and explore and find the hardest stuff is really cool. So we just dig it.
Absolutely. That's why we all do it. So what do you guys drive now, and how have you modified it? We'll start with Christian again.
My daily right now is a G55, and she's stock. But inspired the purchase of my project vehicle and my off-road project vehicle, because I loved everything about it. It's super capable, and really an impressive machine that most people pass off the way they would a bottle of Cristal in a hip hop video. But it's super capable. It's a really good baseline for everything off-roading.
And let's move on to Joe.
So my daily is an old ass air-cooled 911. My off-roader, we call it the Land Hoser or Dirty Diana, old white beat-up Land Rover Disco. And, it gets us where we need to go. It is nowhere near as capable as G, but, that short wheelbase, KM3s, flexi lift, lockers, all the good stuff, gets the job done. Got the old Colorado pinstriping all the way down the sides. Boy.
And you're a mechanic, so you're there right there when it breaks, right?
I am usually a shotgun, and it hasn't broke.
Wow, that's impressive for a discovery.
Dude, it's unreal. We can't get rid of this truck. It's been in and out of the shop for the last 8 years, and so we just decided to adopt it and make a rig out of it.
There you
Did
go.
you get it from a customer or something?
Yes. Blown up, nevertheless, Land Rover style.
Rebuilt it, made it better. There you go.
Absolutely. No, it's nice. I usually ride shotgun. My wife pilots it most of the time. Her and Christian, they go out and hit some trails, and it's kind of nice just to be the spotter, be the viewer, and see what the vehicles are capable of.
I've done a lot more seat time nowadays, and it's kind of fun doing that, especially from like like us with the podcast. If we want to make videos, it's easier to have that extra person hop out instead of everyone in their own rigs, to try and get footage, because that's a pain in the butt.
Absolutely. It's real important for us because we can get out and actually see what's working, what's not, and if they're dragging, if we need to adjust skid plates, if we need to put a little more flex in it. So it's really nice from our perspective.
Nice.
There's
All right.
somebody to see that the vapor canister got torn off, things like that.
I think we saw that when we were in Boulder last time.
One of my favorite questions, and one of our most longest standing question is, what is your most embarrassing moment on the trail, Christian?
I didn't even make it to the trail. The most embarrassing moment was showing up last year to competition and having the truck towed from the starting line because it had no chance of even starting.
Ouch.
Yeah, that would be rough.
I will say I was not in the picture yet for that.
No.
She's made that abundantly clear.
Oh, God.
Well, Joe?
All right. So as a young teenager, I had a lot of ego and a lot to prove. And I had this old, worked over Dodge pickup truck. Naturally, it was somewhere between 3 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I should have been in class. And we were out wheeling in the wintertime and thought we could go through this mud hole. We all did it. I thought I could go through faster. I managed to not only go through it, bash the T case on a rock in the middle of it, shattered that, wrecked the drive shaft. So on the trail, I had to JB weld quarters from my ashtray to the T case, the whole fluid, and a whole bunch of wrenches and a coat hanger and battery to like weld the drive shaft back together so I can get it home. It wasn't so hot. I had a girl with me. Needless to say, we didn't get a second date out of that.
No, but you showed her
Really?
such an interesting time.
With all that ingenuity, no second date?
Yeah,
I thought it was tops, but apparently that was rock bottom for her,
she missed out. She didn't see the value in what you just did there.
clearly.
I'm guessing there were things at play that he's not divulging or that he wasn't even aware of.
There was a time frame factor. I think the whole ordeal was about 6 hours, and it was like 20 degrees out. So there was a little frigidness happening.
Mm.
Gave her a little-
So now that we've asked you to thoroughly embarrass yourself, here's your chance to redeem yourself. What was your biggest win on the trail? We'll start again with Christian.
Oh, well, my bestie left and took her Jeep with her. She moved to California. And I still wanted to go to Moab. So at the time I drove a little A4 station wagon. And I had learned to, scout and drive tire by tire. So I took that little car up Poison Spider in Moab, and you have all the Jeepers, glorious group of fellows that y'all are, going, what the hell are you doing? And when I, peaked the trail, only one laughing was me.
There you go.
I like it.
Got some gambler spirit in you, do ya?
Strategy.
Strategy.
I've been told I don't plan, but I'm telling you that required a plan.
Yeah.
Is that the one that's when in doubt, throttle out?
That works too, right? Go, little turbo, go.
What about you, Joe?
Okay, so my win isn't necessarily one of my wins. It's quite kind of an achievement, so to speak, is we got Bertha, which is Christian's rig, to successfully complete not only one trail, but an entire day's worth of hardcore trail running and filming without a single mishap. That was actually pretty recently, and it was real slow crawling, super technical. performed flawlessly. The 5-speed automatic we put in it, that's all electronically controlled, that worked great. Pump and turbo setup gave her power that she needed. The diff locks worked. I was like, oh, thank God, that's a win for me. I can go home. That was my
I felt like it was a success too. Yeah, we'd had a lot of failures. It doesn't really matter that I almost asphyxiated to death on the way home. We got that solved too. Thank you.
What happened there?
I don't know, just failure to burn fuel, exhaust pumping into the car.
We had some bad pre-chamber setup.
So
the way the exhaust setup on the truck is there's a stainless steel panel down the rocker panel, and there's an oval cut exhaust that comes out right underneath the back door. It's super slick, looks cool, and it's tough. But when the windows are down at certain speeds, the exhaust rolls right into the open window. So you got to be careful.
That's like my exhaust delete I've done on my 4Runner, which was a trail delete, and when I'm driving with the rear window down, same deal, exhaust in the cab, not fun.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're having this conversation because I learn a lot. Thanks, Joe. Let's fix that.
That's why we fix the air conditioning, remember? Windows stay up.
No, I want the windows down. I want the sunroof open and the windows down.
Oh, duh. No, we fixed it. They had an overfueling issue too on this after coming down Boulder Canyon for probably like 15 miles, it would start to overfuel itself. And when you don't have any heat going through the motor and you've got that much pressure, you go to step on it, it's just all that raw unburnt fuel's got to come out. So really just dialing back the injection pump to make that work right was the trick.
So where is your favorite place to wheel, Christian?
Pardon me. I like the desert. Sorry, but it gets a little, religious. I like the peace of the desert, whether it's Moab or thanks to the Rebel, I've spent quite a lot of time in the Imperial Dunes, which is, a place that you usually only see sand rails, and to take a conventional street vehicle in there is pretty rad.
So in our comments here on our live feed here on Overland Radio, Rick commented that windows down are a must for wheeling, and he also
Thank you.
Near a mechanic ? So Joe, what about you?
I dig the sand, it's cool. I think from the speed aspect, it's really awesome. But here in Colorado, I just got back from a trip up near Gould and spent a couple days tooling around all those trails, and I really had a blast. It's something to go right up above tree line, and definitely want to go back to that area, explore some more.
So are there any places that you haven't been able to get to yet that you really want to go?
Everywhere?
Not yet.
Right? I hear there's a whole planet out there. I want to go to Africa.
That would be cool.
You're all invited. I need the support.
Going to Morocco first.
Cool. You're gonna off-road in Monaco? You
No,
sidewalk
Morocco.
driving? Morocco.
Yeah.
Because the sidewalk
You
driving
gotta
would
do
be
the gazelle
pretty
before
cool.
going to Africa.
Morocco, yes. Saharan.
So here we go.
I've got some Lawrence of Arabia, fantasies to fulfill or something.
Yeah, that would be really cool, going through the desert with a convoy of vehicles. Well,
It'd be even cooler in front, hauling ass.
That it would.
I would have to be in front for that because no snorkel, and my air intake's right in the wheel well. Not working out really good for me right now.
I don't think being in front would help you too much with that.
No, and you just need to snorkel.
I think it's mostly your own vehicle that's throwing up the dirt that's getting into your intake.
Yeah. I need to find someone to fix that. Well, I think it's time.
The G screaming sounds wicked.
I think it's time we talk about the Wonder film. So to start out, we need to go to the very beginning of this, and we need to go what goes into making chocolate and what the waste is.
So my family owns a chocolate company. It's one of the, I guess, larger chocolate companies in the US. I don't know. We're like, it's not the biggest of the big and it's not the smallest of the small. So we're right in the middle. And we were talking about how much chocolate waste we produce. So like all of our equipment is cleaned with cocoa butter. Cocoa butter is an awesome emulsifier. You push it through a machine, it picks up everything, pulls all, off flavors out of the stainless steel, and then you're done with that batch of cocoa butter. Or you have chocolate that expires, you can't eat it, it oxidizes, you're not going to rework it. And some of it we can give away. Turns out hogs really like chocolate. Instead of, grain finished cow, you have a chocolate finished hog. But you can only give so much away. And we figured out that we had about 40,000 kilos annually that we really wanted to divert from the landfill. So we're a car family. Most of my history is in track and little cars. But we dabble in a lot of, we're tinkerers, we're fixers. Yeah, you ask it old or new, and the answer is always old, because there's always craftsmanship and workmanship to honor and maintain and repair. So we were like, can we make a biofuel out of this waste? Most biofuel is made from peanut oil or soy oil. Can we do the same thing with cocoa butter? Couple of kitchen batches later, we realized, yeah, we can. And I was like, okay, well, I don't have a car that we can run this in. So I started looking. I knew I was partial to the G-Wagon. I knew it had been made as a diesel. It was never imported in the US, but I started looking, and it took me about 6 months, but I found one. And of course, it's 30 years old, and it really hasn't been maintained. Most people don't care. They are good with scrapping when it's served its purpose. So we had a huge amount of work to do just to get it really functional. And yeah, it goes to competition in October, and it will be fueled entirely by chocolate. So there we are, diverting just for this, probably just for this project, 10,000 kilos of trash.
That's great.
That is awesome.
So what is the difference between biofuel and a diesel fuel?
Chemistry.
A lot of chemistry.
A lot of chemistry. What is the right? I'm not really sure how to answer that. I mean, petrol, diesel comes out of the ground. It's a crude oil derivative. And biofuel is typically a food product. So, I mean, we see some groups like Sunoco who are breeding algae for their various fatty acids and esters to create a biofuel that then they react with methanol. But biofuel, well, the diesel engine was originally designed to be run on a biofuel. So you're looking at the Paris exhibition of 1900, and the French have a sufficient number of colonies down in Africa, and they're transporting fuel to them, to the colonies, to manage their social structure down there. So they tasked Rudolf Diesel with creating an engine that, and consequently a fuel that could be self-sufficient. So it was always intended to run on a vegetable-based fuel product. But then, however the culture develops, we get into petrol-based fuels, and that just becomes the mainstream.
I think some of the things that we need to look at, especially from our perspective, is when we go from a petrol diesel to a biofuel, we have different energy properties per gallon. You know, you have 1 gallon of diesel and you have 1 gallon of biofuel. Each one's going to give off a different energy number. And typically for the biofuel, you actually, it can at times be a little bit more energy dense, which enables the truck to use a little bit less fuel and thereby run a little bit cooler in a way. The other thing is the cetane level is also a little bit higher, so you get a little bit better power as a byproduct. The other thing is it burns just a little cleaner, so you don't get less of that black soot coming out the tailpipe. Those are little adjustments that you have to account for and kind of take into your equation of like, oh, I didn't anticipate this, and how are we going to maximize that going forward? So that's one aspect. The other thing we're always kind of tinkering with right now, and our next hurdle is, how do we make sure it doesn't freeze or gel up when it gets to 30 degrees outside? So working on a heat system to make sure that we can keep it flowing, even if it gets down to 0 degrees. That's what we're working on. And Christian's real close and having something pretty awesome on that perspective, from a chemical nature, and we're working mechanical side to make sure that it always flows and always starts.
So, one of our questions here is, does it smell good? I know, like, traditionally, with biodiesels, you hear of like French fry oil, and it smells like French fries. So, does it smell like chocolate?
It's so last year, my truck didn't. Yeah, Bertha failed at the starting line, but I still ran fuel. I ran a Volkswagen V10 TDI, and so I ran a B20 to a B40 depending on the weather, and I kept feeling like I had dropped my coolant. I was freaking out because the whole car smells like a sugar cookie.
That's awesome. So, is there any loss or improvements on the range with being biodiesel versus traditional?
Yes, and was really quite impressive running last year. You figure off-road 2,000 kilometers, my average speed was probably 25 miles an hour. And I'm getting pretty good mileage out of the TDI anyway. I want to say I'm in the low 40s. And I was easily averaging 60 to 70 miles per gallon, running at 25 miles per hour off-road for 2,000 kilometers.
That's
Nice.
great.
That is.
It's all about energy density.
Oh yeah. So what all did you guys have to do to convert it to run biodiesel?
First thing we had to do was get the fuel system, have the ability to pump the fuel consistently and filter it cleanly on a bigger scale than what the factory system had. Factory system's good down to about 5 micron, but it's such a small particulate filter, it clogs up at the drop of a hat. So we ditched that entire system and we went to an aftermarket system that's meant for Class 8 trucks and heavy duty truck pulling type of scenarios. Basically what you find under the cab of like a jacked up Cummins or Duramax. And we fitted that on the underside of the truck so that it can pump gazillion gallons of biofuel, whether it's starting to gel or not, and be able to provide a consistently clean, air-free fuel. Aside from that, maximizing the injection pump, best way I can describe it to people that's local is, it's like a P-pump Dodge, just downsized quite a bit. So maximizing that pump with different size elements and timing effects and rack travel and all that jazz make sure that we can make the best use of that initial engine of fuel, and kind of fine tuning that so we have good off throttle response all the way through high RPM. And then on the backside, sticking with kind of a hybrid turbo setup. We're using a kind of a factory turbine side that's all ceramic coated, and then a larger compressor side to largely spin a little bit more air through it. So we have a good RPM range. It starts spooling at around 1500 RPM and wraps all the way to 5000.
So you have a refurbished 92 G-Wagon. What's gone into it? And was it, well, I guess you already answered it early. It was already a diesel, correct?
Yep.
So what have you done to refurbish it? Or should it be what haven't you done?
And what haven't we done 2 or 3 times?
Oh no.
I think the suspension next.
Yeah. It has a bright future ahead of it. God, seriously, everything's been redone. Everything's been redone. I mean, we even had to like reconfigure the doors because they had wire tied them, all the componentry together. God. So there's nothing that hasn't been redone.
So why did you guys have to do things multiple times?
Because my eyes are bigger than my stomach. We started with the idea that, we're going to have to put a lot, excuse the barking dog. God. Oh my gosh.
So I think the reason we had to do it multiple times were initially Christian had the impression that she was going to be put to the floor across the desert at 100 miles an hour. And looking at the details of the race, realized we had to scale it back. Initially, I think the truck was put together with a 450 to 500 horsepower package and a 6-speed manual. And, in theory, it works great when you're going in a straight line all out. It is killer. But trying to manipulate that on a technical trail or terrain, quickly realized that it was going to get out of hand pretty quick. So it's been a series of steps to dial it back to a reasonable and manageable level while still having some decent power. Let me phrase that: awesome power, but awesome drivability. We're really trying to focus on drivability. So,
and it really it's about finding.
Here, we're kind of narrowing it down to.
It's about finding the right people, and I think we're at that point. It took a while to find Joe, and it took a while to find minds that understood the potential of the project and didn't want to turn it into something else. It's great that Joe actually has an off-roading background. My original mechanic has a lot of race experience, but doesn't off-road. So yeah, throwing around a 6,000 pound vehicle just didn't compute for him. So once again, thanks, Joe.
Science.
Science.
We love the metric system.
Yeah, it's great to have the people in there with the experience to also back up their knowledge of engines and vehicles, and kind of know what you want to do with it and know the best way to take care of that.
Well, it's time for a break in the show because we've got the contest keyword, and this week's code is Rubicon.
So make sure you head over to the Gleam giveaway. So it's linked on our Facebook page. That's probably the easiest way to find it. And make sure you go in there and click off on the chocolate G-Wagon / Wonderland. I'm sorry, I definitely butchered that. Wonder Film episode, and put in that live keyword. This is the only place you're going to get it. So make sure you do it now. And yeah, it'll give you a much improved chance to win. So let's get back into the show. And so how did you guys come up with a name?
For the truck? What are we talking about?
Everything.
Everything?
So like Wonder Film.
So God. Wonder is a German word, usually meaning miracle or prodigy of nature. And one of the things, it's like this started out as a simple idea, like, hey, it's cool, we're gonna, turn our chocolate trash into fuel, and we'll make a couple of YouTube videos out of it. And the more people I talked to and the more involved I got in this project, the more it developed, the bigger it got. And it became something like, what if we could really divert 40,000 pounds just from our one factory? What if we could run the factory on chocolate waste? What if we had 37 American chocolate companies with 4 million kilos of chocolate waste, and we could run them all off of their own byproduct? And I like to dream big. And if I can actually do something like that, it's going to be a damn miracle. So yeah, that's how the Wonder name came about. And, in order to pull something like that off, I have to channel my inner Wonder Woman. So it just seemed like a natural fit. And then Bertha, like, we've all heard the story of the Headless Horseman. Well, a few years after the Headless Horseman, there was a possessed horse carriage in Mannheim, Germany. A horseless carriage that moved as if by spirits. And the church was freaked out and the government was freaked out, and they weren't sure what to do about it. Turns out this horse carriage, it belongs to Carl Benz, and it's the first patent motor wagon. And there's a woman named Bertha, and she funded it. She renounced her family to marry this tinkerer, this fixer, this innovator, and she invested her life savings, it's not her savings, but her inheritance, into this project. And the church and the government say, heck no, this is way too creepy. And she said, forget you, I'm going to do it. And so for all the naysayers that said, that's stupid, why would you, it's so gimmicky to take chocolate and turn it into fuel. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say, forget you. And I'm going to do it anyway. So the truck's name is Bertha, in her honor. A bit of a rebel.
Well, that's perfect considering it's going in the Rebel Rally, right?
Yeah.
So, what have you done to prepare for the Rebel?
Not drive. I look at maps every morning. I am not the navigator, I'm strictly the driver. But the Rebel is, you have no GPS, you have no phones, you get 14 maps, and you have your compass. And you travel 2,000 kilometers. And each day you have 20 hidden checkpoints that you have to get to. So I look at maps and I look at Google Earth and I try to study the terrain and prepare for what it is that I'm going to encounter. One of the things that happened last year on my first Rebel, we came out of the mountains and into a lake bed, which is full of silt, like 2 feet deep, super fine silt. And I wasn't prepared. And once you're in it, you don't stop, you keep going. And I almost flipped the car. And you're pushing silt up over the hood, you can't see anything. And I wasn't prepared. And it's like little things sneak up on you that could, end your competition. So understanding my terrain better is one of my definite goals. And for those of you who don't read maps, we get 14 maps at the beginning of an 8-day competition. The smallest is 1 to 50,000, so that's 500 meters, or 1 centimeter equals 500 meters. The biggest map is 1 to 200,000. So, I mean, it's an incredible amount of space that you have to look at and comprehend. And if you're not used to looking at maps, it's really daunting. You see a space where you think you are, and you see 3 trails, and you're imagining, no big deal, I'm going to take that center trail. You actually get to that place in real life. There are 16 trails out there. And you have a timer running. Your checkpoints close if you don't make them in time, and you're out there to win, I think. So yeah, it's a lot of preparation, and starting to think in scale and starting to think systematically, which I really am not that person. I'm a cloud thinker. I'm an Apple user. And so to be structured and to really train yourself to be systematic and precise is not something that comes easily to me.
I think that's one reason that people like the Rebelle so much, is it kind of pushes you out past your comfort zone.
Oh, for real.
So you are driving, Bertha. Have you picked your co-driver yet who's going to be navigating?
Yep. An amazing woman. I think this is her 4th Rebelle. She is absolutely expert level navigator. She's always been a navigator, but is a fine rad ass in her own right. Her name's Renee. She's in SoCal, rides motocross, mountain bikes, and definitely off-roads, and spends a lot of time on a lot of wheels.
So it's just from you talking about the maps, I take it you have a lot of previous navigation experience. Are you are you keeping that knowledge fresh to help with your navigator so that you both can kind of go off of each other?
When she's navigating, that's her space, and I trust her to do it. But if anything happens, whether it could be something as simple as heat stroke, we need to finish. So the way it starts is we get our checkpoints at 5 a.m. every morning, and we start plotting. Obviously, if there are 2 of us plotting, then we're twice as efficient. And if I'm not as good at plotting as she is, if I'm not as precise, well, then I've screwed up the day. So that's probably one of the only times that I will touch the maps, is in plotting, but I need to make sure I'm precise. And if I don't know what I'm looking at, then I just let her down.
That makes perfect sense.
Are you staying overnight?
So how much time has filming added to the work of working on the G-Wagon?
Joe's pretty accommodating, and he never rolls his eyes, and he never yells at anybody telling them to get out of his space. But like, I brought Bertha home end of May, I guess, and I had a day to go driving, and I called my crew and I was like, we're going out tomorrow, and we never even made it to the trail because they're trying to get the shot. So, managing that situation has been interesting. That sorry guys, you really got to figure out how to run and gun. We're not reshooting anything. If you didn't get it, I'm really sorry, and I hope you have another chance. But yeah, put on those running shoes, and I went out with Joe and his awesome wife, like you said, a couple of weeks ago, and yeah, we made them pound the trails. They logged a lot of miles, and it was good.
Ran a lot.
They ran a lot at like a 10 to 15% grade.
Yeah, they got their mountain training.
Mm-hmm. So I mean,
the camera crew they're not that bad. I mean, in the shop, it's kind of like herding cats. So you just kind of got to go about your way and just say, guys, I'm right here. Give me a little bit, and they kind of swarm around you like flies, but they're all right. They're good. But on the trail, it's definitely interesting to see them hustle, try to organize, and like, come on, let's go, get up the hill, hurry up.
Mm-hmm. But it's cool. It's a nice sort of symphony of people to watch them once they hit their groove. So it's good, and I'm glad I think we're closer to figuring it out, because yeah, there's no pausing and no retakes when we're actually in competition.
So with all this filming aimed towards being a documentary, is there, if I'm correct in that, and is there plans on where and when it's going to be released?
COVID changed a lot. So originally we were anticipating that we'd be through final edits in the last quarter of the year after the Rebel, and we'd be ready for film festivals in January, February. Thanks to COVID, that won't be happening, because every film festival is canceled this year. So their entrants are already accounted for the 2021 film festival season. So that was actually a big relief, because it's amazing how quickly a year goes, and it's amazing how much you imagine you're going to get done and how much is left on the table. So yeah, Joe and I have, sort of divvied up the project into stages. And I think it's a lot more comfortable. We will do things correctly. They won't be slapped together. Nothing will be bubble gummed.
There will be no duct tape.
There will be no duct tape.
No bailing.
And I'm so tired of wire ties. Oh my gosh. So it's nice to be able to plan. And it's a lot of freedom and a lot of opportunity. So good things come out of pandemics.
If we say so.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what creature comforts have you added to the build?
Oh, you should tell them about my new seats.
Oh my god. Set of AMG seats out of basically they're the Recaros out of like an AMG GT. And we actually got them to retrofit into this G. We have power to them. They're controlled. Oh, so comfortable. So jelly. I ride in this thing and I'm like, oh, kills it. And then I hop in my old beat down Land Hoser. Come on. Killing me.
So are they heated and cooled too?
That would be nice. We haven't figured that one out yet, but it doesn't really matter. I don't care. They're cozy.
One step at a time. We got forward, back, up, down, recline, all that jazz, but they're all CAN bus. So trying to get all that stuff to walk and talk is a little challenging.
Oh, I can imagine so. I hate computers sometimes. Well, I think that about wraps up most of what we wanted to cover. I really wish you good luck on the Rebel this year.
Thank you.
We'll be here rooting for you. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out this year, with COVID changing everything how it's been. But before we let you go, where can our listeners find you?
You can find us online at wonder.film, WUNDER.film, or birthoftheg-wagon.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook as Wonder Collective. And totally look forward to hearing from all of you.
Awesome. What about you,
Absolutely.
Joe? Did you want to plug your shop?
Absolutely. So I'm with Alliance Auto Care. We're on Instagram, Alliance Auto Loveland, and Facebook. You can find us there, see some of our current projects and builds. We have a few more than Bertha going on at the same time, so you can kind of get a glimpse into what kind of stuff we're into. So stopping by, check us out.
Thanks, guys.
Oh, we really
Really appreciate it.
Don't forget to visit Patriot Patch and join the Patch of the Month Club. Check out our Gaia affiliate link for up to 40% off. Also, don't forget to head over to Warren and Power Tank to see all of their great gear. We are a proud part of the Firearms Radio Network. Got a question or comment? Send it to us through our webpage at firearmsradio.tv or through our social media channels by searching for Off-Road Podcast. Also, you can listen to us live at overlandradio.com, Mondays at 7 p.m. Pacific. When off-road, please remember to have fun, tread lightly, be safe and courteous, and thanks for listening.